For this week's video, I'm going to be doing another video with coconut milk as the lye water replacement. I thought it would be appropriate since the theme of this one, or the fragrance oil that I'm choosing for this, is a coconut mango pineapple fragrance. I'm going to show you the full recipe, so if you guys want that, just stick around. I'm also going to show you how I'm going to do some of the design elements for this video. So you'll see the recipe as we go along. You just want to use regular coconut milk. If you haven't done any milk videos, check out my channel. I have lots of them. I have a couple that actually explain coconut milk and using that. I'm not going to go into great detail in this video, so just find regular coconut milk. You want less ingredients on there. 100% coconut milk is the best option if you're not sure what you're looking for. So I want to spend a little bit more time going over the design elements for this video. I took some melt and pour soap, just a clear soap base that I had, and then I colored it with some pretty bright yellow mica and just kind of stirred that in. These are going to resemble the pineapple chunks. So I just, like I said, melted down maybe, I want to say 2 or 3 ounces worth of soap. I'm using my cupcake mold to give us a nice round shape for the pineapple chunks, shape. I thought it would be consistent, and this color looks nice. Once I poured these in, I kind of just set them aside and let them sit up for, I think it was about 30 minutes to an hour, because I'm not filling the cavity of the soap mold entirely. And I had some other things that I wanted to work on while this set up. The next part, we're going to be making some soap dough. I like to make my soap dough with melt and pour. I'm using the brown color for the actual coconut colors, and I'm using a white melt and pour soap base for some of the soap dough. That's hard to say, guys. And then I'm mixing in some cornstarch. If you have questions on how to do this or not sure what to do, I have another video that teaches everybody how to make soap dough with cornstarch and melt and pour soap. It's a lot less caustic. You can actually save the soap dough if you make it and use it later, because when you're molding it with your hands, it kind of is sensitive to the heat of your hands. So it's nice to work with. So I went ahead and I took a little bit of the white and I kind of saved it for the milk color of the coconut. And then the rest I'm going to color with brown mica. So I just dumped a ton of mica on there, and you can see, and I just kind of work it in. Once everything was worked in, I went ahead and started coloring, or not coloring, but going ahead and pinching off little pieces of the soap dough and making little like round ball shapes to represent the coconuts. Now I do want to say with melt and pour soap dough, it does sort of harden up a little bit or start to set up when there's no heat directly applied to it. They don't melt, or anything like that, but they do start to harden up, which is good because we're going to use these, and I'm going to use another little tool that I have that you use for like clay, and I'm just going to kind of work the soap dough shape around the ball of the head of this tool to kind of give it like that roundish coconut shape. I'm sure there's lots of other ways to do this, maybe quicker ways. I've seen a lot of people make little coconut shapes, so if you have comments or suggestions, go ahead and leave them down below and let other people know if there's an easier way to make a coconut. I don't care, guys. This is just the way that I thought was best to do it. And it kind of gave everything, a little bit of a unique look. Everything is, handmade and personal. So then the next part, I was just taking that little bit of soap dough, the white one that I left aside, and taking little tiny pieces and then putting the white chunks inside and kind of just, working them in, making it look like a little coconut. So this is my rendition of how to make soap coconuts. So like I said, let me know if you have other ideas. Okay guys, and by the time I got done making those little coconut balls, I'm on to the next part. I'm going to be using the cake frosting tip thing to kind of cut some circle shapes out of the little pineapple pieces we made. And you can see that I didn't fill up the cavity mold too deep. I kind of just, made it look like a little slice, how a pineapple would look. So I just went ahead, and it was pretty easy because the soap hadn't been sitting too long, to kind of just push the center out. The only issue I did have was sometimes that piece of soap that you're cutting out got kind of stuck in the piping tip. So I had to find a tool to kind of get that piece out. So it did take a little bit of work. One of these was, the one I'm working on, was a little bit thicker than the other, so it was kind of hard to push it all the way through, but once I got it, it was easy to sort of push everything out. Now I really wanted to take this to the next level and make sure that they look like pineapples a lot. So I had those tools that I was showing you earlier. I found one with like teeth on it, and I just kind of went around the rim of them and made some sort of scratch marks to kind of make it look like the little fibers that you would see on a pineapple. And again, I'm just kind of taking my time with the soap and trying to make it as realistic as I can. And you can see when the light hits it that it looks like, you know, the little fibers show up. Once I was done scoring all of the little chunks, I went ahead and I did cut them down into smaller pieces, because I couldn't decide if I wanted to do like half circles and stick them out of the top of the soap, or if I wanted to do chunks. I thought the half circles would be taking up too much space, so I just trimmed them down into like the tiniest little chunks I could make. So that way I can kind of piece them in better at the end of the soap project. So if you have questions on this process, just let me know. I'm more than happy to answer. Now that all of the pieces and the toppings were planned out and ready to go, I felt confident enough to finish making the rest of my soap. I'm slowly adding in the lye that I had measured out into the coconut cubes, and I just kind of slowly mix that in. And you just want to do a couple spoonfuls at a time, because you don't want to scorch the coconut milk. You want to keep the coconut milk as close as you can to like a creamy white color. So that's something to keep in mind if you haven't done any type of milk soap. Just make sure that you keep the lye solution very, very cool. One other thing that I do want to mention, when you are mixing in lye like this to milk, or any other, you know, thing that is not water, you do want to make sure that you are mixing it very well, stirring it extra longer. Like if you think all the lye is mixed, just go ahead and mix it a couple more minutes. And I don't mean set the container aside and let it sit there, because sometimes those little crystals just sink to the bottom and they like kind of stick together to the bottom of your container. So you want to make sure that you're mixing everything in, because you don't want little pockets of lye in your finished soap product. I have had that happen once, not with this recipe, but with a different one. And it was kind of saddening when you cut it open and you just realize you cannot use the soap because it's none of the lye mixed in properly. So I just thought I would remind you guys. And I just wanted to show a close-up shot of how you'll see the milk kind of melting down, and the white is almost like the white melted part is almost as white as the cubes. That shows that you're going in the right direction. If it starts getting much darker than this, you want to slow down mixing in your lye. Now for the rest of the recipe, while some of that lye is cooling down and mixing in, I like to start measuring out my oils. So I just start measuring those out and then putting them all into like a big pot or something, and then I add all my liquid oils and my hard oils together, and I put them on like a double boiler, or sometimes I melt them down in a microwave, but I like using my double boiler better, just to make sure all of the hard oils are in a liquid form. That way they mix better when you add your lye. I know there's different methods to add lye and oils, but this is just the one that I like to use the best. Okay guys, we are getting a lot closer to that final product. Now all the oils are measured out. Everything has come to room temperature. I always soap at room temperature. If you are going to mix this and you're new to soap making and you want to know, okay, am I soaping too hot? I always recommend under 110 degrees Fahrenheit. These are the colors that I'm using for the soap, and the fragrance oil is from Crafter's Choice, the pineapple coconut. I would highly recommend this. It is a very floral, citrusy, pineapple, coconut, like all those notes come through very good. It's actually probably one of my favorite coconut smelling ones. I know I say that all the time, guys, but I keep finding other ones that I like, and this one's even a little bit better because that pineapple just makes it smell really sweet and it pops through. So these bright colors I thought really complemented that fragrance oil really good. So I just went ahead and I'm doing like a basic drop swirl kind of in the pot thing, and then topping it off and getting those colors, a little bit of those colors on the top. So when I put the embeds on, you know, it will kind of show up a little bit more. So I just made sure that I mixed everything to a really light trace too. And it was a lot easier when I kept the soap temp really cool to get like nice swirls with this design, or with the soap design. So I'm happy with that portion of it. I did also wait like a minute or two before I started putting the little pieces on top, because the soap batter was still so fluid, so I didn't want like those pieces sinking in. You can kind of see like the first few I put on there. I'm just doing it super delicate because I'm like nervous they're just gonna like sink all the way to the bottom. But I kind of spaced them out and I zigzagged them so that when I cut the soap down later, it's a little bit easier to actually get like a good cut. And then I just started taking the little pineapple chunks that I made and just sticking them in there the best I could, because I knew once I cut this that it's going to be hard to like really line it up, and I wanted every single piece to have a little bit of these toppers on it. So I thought it came out super cute, guys. If you guys have questions, let me know, like I said, in the comments. Let me know what other types of videos you guys want to see. If you like more cold process soaps, or if you'd rather have more melt and pour soaps. I know I have a little bit of both on here, so I just wanted to see where you guys were at, and thank you all for watching.